What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the NYG Blue Zone. Another week, another loss, this time against the Detroit Lions at Ford Field. And at this point, we all know exactly what this season is. I mean, the Giants have officially been the first team to be eliminated from playoff contention for the second straight year. It's disappointing, it's frustrating. And as a fan, I got to be honest with you, it's just embarrassing. But what makes it even worse is the amount of hope and enthusiasm that we had coming into this season. Going to training camp, seeing some of the new talent that we acquired through free agency and the draft. There was a lot of excitement, man. And in the preseason, I know preseason is preseason, but the Giants was lighting it up during preseason. There was a lot of hope coming into this season. But tonight, I'm not going to dwell a whole lot about that game in Detroit. But I do want to mildly touch on is this. You know, the Giants are a 2-10 team, but they one of the most respected 2-10 teams that I've ever seen. Teams don't look at the Giants as a get-right game. They see them on their schedule, and they know these guys got no quit on them. They going to ball the fuck out, and they're going to try really hard to get the dub. They're going to put it out there, and teams see it, they know it, they feel it. Unfortunately, our defense has let us down, but offensively, and I'm not even going to just throw the defense in the trash like that, because for 55 minutes of almost every game that the defense has played, they've played extremely well. It's the last 5 minutes of the game that they fall apart. Truth of the matter is, if the NFL had 3-quarter games, the Giants would win the Super Bowl of 3-quarter games. But they don't. We play for 4 quarters. Not for 55 minutes, but for 60 minutes. And that's what's been killing the Giants. But I'm really proud of a lot of these players for the effort they put on the field last week. You know, Darius Alexander, this rookie had 2 sacks, big sacks during the game. Tyrone Tracy Jr. is back to his old form. I think he had over 130 yards 2 games in a row. All-purpose yards. Nacho has consistently been given energy. He got a sack. Brian Burns. We all know that Brian Burns is second in the league in sacks. He's always putting that effort on the field. He almost had a sack this week, too, and he just missed. That was a good effort on Jared Goff's part to escape that sack, but he almost got him there. And Wan'Dale Robinson, at 5'8", this guy had 9 catches for 156 yards, I think, plus a touchdown. Isaiah Hodgins, he was on a practice squad 2 weeks ago, played in his second game, catching get-out-of-jail-free card passes from Jameis Winston to keep a 3rd and 17 drive alive. And then you also had him catching a touchdown in the back of the end zone doing a toe drag swag. Theo Johnson. You know, I got to tell you, man, I owe that man an apology. He was trending towards being Evan Ingram 2.0. But Theo Johnson over the past 4 games has really reinvented himself on the field. I don't know what he's been doing in practice. I don't know what got into his head. But whatever it was, he got it right. He got it together. He's catching the passes that are thrown at him. He's not dropping those big passes anymore. He's making catches that I thought, did he catch that? He caught that. He's getting in good position. He's running good routes. He's becoming a threat, the threat that we wanted him to be. And then after the game, after the Detroit Lions came back and won in overtime, another game that the Giants probably should have won, Theo Johnson was on the field punching the turf, punching it, pissed, angry, hurt, upset that we lost another game. We let another one get away. You don't get that type of emotion from a player who's given up. He wants to win. I like that shit. I owe that man an apology. I'm proud of him. I'm proud of the effort that he's been putting on the field, and I'm excited to see what he got for the rest of his time as a New York Football Giant. And then how about Jameis Winston? How about Jameis Winston leading the league in passing yards? He had 366 passing yards. He had 2 touchdowns, 1 INT. He had a receiving touchdown. Jameis Winston, over the past 2 weeks, and I got to say this, man, this is a guy that was brought in through free agency to be the backup quarterback. They drafted a quarterback. He moved to the number 3 position. He didn't complain not one time. He said, whatever this team wants me to do is what I'm going to do. And he stayed ready. He said, you don't have to get ready if you always prepared. He went out there and he balled the fuck out. I couldn't even understand how many big plays this man put on the field, giving up the body, breaking tackles as a tight end, going into the end zone. He even had a choreographed dance where he was throwing dice with Andrew Thomas and Tyrone Tracy Jr. when he caught a touchdown. Yo, Jameis Winston, whatever the Giants need to do to keep him on this roster while he is a productive player, while he still has the physicality, the physical abilities to play backup quarterback, they need to keep that man. And I know I'm leaving a few names out, other players who contributed to this game, but those are the ones who are most impactful, at least to me. You know, drop it in the comments if you see somebody else or saw somebody else who you want to acknowledge for their effort. You might want to talk about Jermaine Illuminor, who held it down against Hutchinson. You might want to talk about Andrew Thomas. You might want to talk about the whole offensive line because they did a pretty good job this game. So those are just some of the names that immediately come to my mind. But tonight, what I really want to talk about is where the New York Giants stand right now. You know, with our quarterback situation, changes on the coaching staff, and the direction this team needs to take heading into the final few games of the season. So anyway, don't forget, hit that like, subscribe, notification bell, so every time I drop some new content, you're one of the first ones to be notified. And please, comment. We get a lot of comments. We got to start like a mailbag or something like that so we can answer questions on air because there's so many people that have been engaging with us, and we really appreciate that. We appreciate the amount of growth that we've seen with the channel also. A lot of people are seem to be liking our content, and thank you for that. Thank you for helping us to grow to the point where we are. We're almost at 1,000 subscribers now. Last 28 days, we had over 130,000 views. So, yeah, keep the engagement going, and we appreciate y'all. And I'm going to reply to as many comments as I can. Even the haters, I comment to them too. I appreciate them too. But for now, let's get into it. So one of the biggest questions that's on the table, and right now is one of the only discussions worth having right now, is should Jackson Dart even come back this season? I, for one, think he should, but we're going to talk about the reasons why he might not want to be brought back, why Kafka might say, you know what, let's just shut him down. And then the reasons why you might want to see him on the field, right? So here's what we know so far, right? He's progressing through the concussion protocol, okay? He's trending towards being cleared, by the way. Kafka said the minute the medical team clears him, they'll take the next action. What does that action mean? I think Kafka is going to start him, but I do think he has had discussions about sitting him down. And the real question is not if he's ready, but should you, right? We're 2-10. We're already eliminated from the playoffs. Some say there is nothing to gain by bringing the rookie quarterback back from a concussion with a defense that can't stop anybody and in games that don't affect the playoff picture whatsoever. Because what you're risking is a potential second concussion, long-term health concerns, maybe shaking Jackson Dart's confidence, forcing him into hero ball situations that he doesn't need, put more pressure on a young quarterback who's still learning the NFL. Meanwhile, sitting him gives him time to fully heal, time to watch the game from the sideline, He could study different defensive disguises, kick it with Jameis Winston and ask him what did he see in situations. Give him time to understand protections. Why did he check out of a play or check into a play? Time for him to grow without getting hit 15 plus times per week. And he can enter the next season 100% healthy. We're not building for week 13. We're building for the foundation for the next decade of New York Giants football. And sometimes the smartest move is the least popular one. So some would say, let's start, sit, protect the investment, let him grow, continue to develop the kid. But let's clear up one other thing. Jameis Winston is the QB2, period, end of story. And honestly, he earned it based on his play the last couple of weeks, especially his performance in Detroit. Winston played his ass off. He was confident. He moved the offense. He made strong throws. And he had an amazing catch and run for a touchdown. I mean, he brings leadership, energy. The locker room responds to him. The sideline responds to him. Winston broke out the permanent ink Sharpie marker and said he's the backup quarterback moving forward, goddammit. Point blank, end of story. The only reason I'm bringing this up, by the way, is because Jameis starting could have been real ugly. It could have went in the complete opposite direction, but it did not. It was real special, man. Russell Wilson, respectfully, doesn't bring anywhere near what Jameis does. We all see it. We all know it. We all feel it. So the only quarterback question we really should be asking is the one that I deferred to earlier. Is it smart to let Winston finish the season while Dart continues to heal and learn and study? And right now, there's an argument that says, yeah, maybe it is a smart thing to do. Now let's talk about the defensive side of the ball. The Giants made one of the biggest midseason moves I've seen in a long time. I've seen head coaches be fired. I don't know the last time I've seen a coordinator, whether it be offensive, defensive, or special teams, terminated for the New York Giants midseason. But I'm going to be honest here. Shane Bowen should have been fired. This was not a surprise. This was not reactionary. This wasn't emotional. This was absolutely necessary. And let me put some numbers out there. 29th in total defense. 29th in scoring defense. 30th against the run. 32nd, worse than the NFL, in red zone defense. 18th on third down. 0 takeaways when it really mattered. There's no defensive identity at all. When you think about the Giants, you don't think about, they run defense? Bruh. Or you ain't throwing the ball against these corners. You don't think about none of that. Right? 0 identity. 0 situational discipline. Opposing offenses walked into the red zone against us the way that people walk into Costco. No questions asked. Just walk in and leave with 7 points. The tackling, straight up embarrassing. The communication has been non-existent. You're always seeing players in the secondary after a big pass from the opposing team saying, you were supposed to be over here. I was supposed to be over here. Confusion. Coverage breakdowns all the time. The effort inconsistent at best. There's nothing here you could build on. Nothing trending upward. There's nothing resembling improvement. So yes, firing Bowen was long overdue. And honestly, the Giants waited too long to make this move. And I thought a lot about the timing of this too. I think I mentioned this in a prior show. Kafka wanted to see how Bowen would respond to him. I mean, it would have been perceived as a really rash move on Kafka's part to fire him in his first week. I think he wanted to properly evaluate him and watch the film as the head coach and then determine what he was going to do. And after 2 weeks, not 2 seasons, but 2 weeks, unlike Brian Dable, he saw it was time for a change. And I respect that. Absolutely. So with Bowen out, the linebackers coach Charlie Bullen steps in as the interim defensive coordinator. Now, we need to set some reasonable expectations. We've had the carrot dangled in front of us for at least 6 games this season. Where you feeling like, yo, we about to win this game. I would say after the 4th time it happened, we was all like, yeah, we ain't winning nothing. But we've been in position. But I don't see Bullen coming in and turning us into a top 10 defense overnight. Maybe not at all. And let's keep it real. That's impossible with the injuries and the rest of the dysfunction at 1925 Giants Drive. But what he can do immediately is improve communication, work on player on-field assignments, put an intense focus on tackling, transfer some of that aggression we've seen from the edge rushers onto the rest of the defense, simplify some of the plays, put players in roles that make more sense. Sometimes defense is less about scheme and more about being in the right place and playing fast. And if Bullen can make us competent, not great, but just competent, that's a massive upgrade. We ain't looking to be world beaters, just competent. I would like to see that improvement. And you can't talk about any of these changes without talking about the guy who's pulling the strings, Mike Kafka. And whether or not you think he should be the long-term head coach, here's one thing that is undeniable. The culture feels different with Kafka in charge. I mean, this guy benched Abdul Carter for missing the walkthrough. That's accountability. He's calmer on the sideline. No meltdowns, no tantrums, no chaos. The offense functions at a very high level. 6 TDs on opening drives in 12 games so far. That matches the total number of opening drive touchdowns the Giants had from 2021 to 2024. The players respect him. He's firing coordinators who aren't getting the job done. He's organizing practices with more structure and less confusion. This team feels more professional under Kafka. And it ain't perfect, but it's better. And these guys are more serious about their jobs, it seems to me anyway. But the secondary is still a disaster. And keeping it 100, firing Bowen, that's just the first step to fixing these problems. The secondary is a full-blown disaster. And you can't sugarcoat that. We seeing blown coverages, late reactions, piss-poor angles, terrible leverage, a complete collapse in the red zone. And this ain't just talent related. This is a coaching problem. This is a player development problem. This is a communication problem. And Charlie Bullen can simplify things all he wants, but let's be honest, some of this cannot be fixed until the offseason. So what's the state of the team? What does this leave us? Should Dart return this season? Shouldn't he if he's healthy enough? Do you play him? There's an argument that says you should. I think he will, but I think it would be with a modified focus. He's going to want to win games, but he's got to be more self-preserving. Slide. I mean, slide. Don't take the hit. And while I wouldn't mind it if Winston finishes out this year, I don't think Kafka's going to do that. I just don't see it. These final few games of this year could be valuable reps for Jackson Dart. And I think Kafka knows that, and he sees the value in those reps. Bowen is gone, and the defense finally has a chance to improve. Let's see if Charlie Bullen can get him to do that. And some people were bringing up other names like Andre Patterson. But Andre Patterson, I don't think he's a very good coach. I think that his time has passed him by. I also think that he takes a lot of credit for the development of Dexter Lawrence that he doesn't deserve. I think when you look at the regression we have seen with your best player, and why is it that Nacho, while he's a high energy guy, he's wildly inconsistent. Darius Alexander, it's not until week 12 that he's getting a sack. He had a half a sack, but week 12 that he gets his second sack, I don't know. I'm not sold on the guy. Now, I don't think he's horrible, but I don't think he's the guy. So I do think that they did the right thing bringing the linebackers coach up, Charlie Bullen. But we'll see how that goes. We'll see if we see the improvement that we're looking for and hoping for. So it's a chance for him to prove himself that Kafka made the right decision. And right now, Kafka is giving me no reason to think that he's not able to identify talent on his coaching staff and on the roster. So Kafka's shown real leadership traits, and he may be playing himself into a permanent head coaching conversation this year. But the secondary, it needs to be rebuilt, period. They spent a lot of money. They used a lot of assets to acquire what they thought was good talent, and it's been underwhelming. Now, some of it is talent. Some of it is coaching. I think by and large, it's a coaching issue. You can't be that bad in that many statistical categories and blame that all on the players. Not when we know what they've been able to do in the past. So that's my assessment of them. So I think the Giants really need to spend the rest of the season evaluating who actually belongs on this roster. Because moving into next year, they've got good cap space. They're going to have a very good position in the draft. And I'm not sure that I trust Joe Shane to acquire talent that we need, but he's who we've got for now. And I'm not convinced that he's going to be the one who's going to be in the war room on draft night or leading up to draft night and free agency. I'm not sure he's going to be the guy, but we'll see what happens. But all right, I think I'm going to stop it there for the night. Please drop a comment and let me know. You think Jackson Dart should be seated for the rest of the season, or do you think the reps are too valuable for him to sit down? Do you think the Giants made the right move with Charlie Bullen, or do you think they should have looked at Marquand Manuel or Andre Patterson? How you feel about Winston maybe rocking out for the rest of the year? And how you feel about Mike Kafka right now? You think Mike Kafka has done enough to secure the head coaching position? I think he has. It's still a little too soon for me to write it in a Sharpie marker, but so far so good. Mike Kafka's doing the right thing. He's doing the things that I like to see. I love our offense. We are the best bad team I've ever seen. So don't forget to hit that like, subscribe, and tap that notification bell. This is the NYG Blue Zone. I'm your boy Attikis, and always go big blue.
Yeah, a lot of girls probably crying from my old high school. Look, they see me everywhere they go. I probably would too. Look, crossed over to the Jordan man like I'm Michael. Yeah, eating blessings so much I might need lipo. Yeah, tailored for the doves like I'm walking in chucks. Yeah, it's just in this plan, man, I see all y'all shook. Look, knew that I was great ever since I was a rook. Man, all y'all singles making me look good. Okay, praise to the Most High, yeah, that's Jesus. Look, but when it come to this rap thing, I can't lose. Yeah, back-to-back number ones, that's the thing greats do. Yeah, tell them boys that ain't nothing I can't do. It's my year. It's my year.